Hello, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Moment of Clarity. This is a special episode. First one I'm having a guest on. So should be cool. Bringing Naomi Karavani. You might know her from Redacted Tonight, which is a little TV show we've tried out here and there for 7 years. So I hope you've seen it. But yeah, I think we'll treat it more like a hangout with topics. I'm going to talk about Virginia is very close to ending the death penalty in that state. The death penalty being a nice troglodyte barbaric practice that should have been outlawed roughly 700 years ago. Roughly, probably before that, really medieval times. It's a medieval practice, and the fact that it's still legal in some of our states is fucking repulsive. And of course, Donald Trump set like a record for federal executions as he was on his way out. Because if you're going to leave office, you want to make sure there's some bodies in your wake. Trump, you got to give it to Trump. Right before he was about to leave, right before he was walking out the door, he was like, "I don't know if there's enough bodies piled in the basement. Go kill 13, 14 people." And that should make me feel better. That should fill the fucking hole in my goddamn soul that made me want to rule the world. But okay, please share this. Please let people know about it and tell them to come hang out with you. Sup, Kari. Sup, Kevin. Sup, Alex. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. And why don't we go ahead and get to it? I'm going to bring in Naomi. Congratulations. You're the first ever guest on Moment of Clarity.
This is exciting. Oh, you...
And look, and the commenters seem excited. They seem excited.
I am excited to talk to somebody else today. It is.
I think we all are. I think that's most YouTube audiences are based on us being excited to speak to somebody else. So this largely will not be an interview of you. It'll be a hangout with you. But I do want to start by asking, you're on the show Redacted Tonight. How is that work experience? Is that pretty awful?
Geez.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Well, Redacted Tonight is a very unique show. It's a really great show to work on. My boss, great guy.
Pile of garbage.
He gives me a lot of freedom picking my topics, and I really get to do what I'm passionate about, and that is smoke weed and write scripts.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had you smoke much weed on camera, so we'll have to work on that.
No. I've been cutting down lately. I've been eating it mostly. No.
Oh, good. Everybody needs a pandemic hobby. So
yeah,
there's cooking various weed edibles.
Yes, I did. I made pumpkin spice weed cupcakes that did make several people puke. So
really good.
I've definitely upped my game on that. Yeah.
Several people puke. That's always the goal. Okay, so I'm going to start with my topic, and then we'll go to your what you want to talk about in a few minutes.
Cool.
So this is in Virginia, my home state. We are big killers. We love killing people, but as sign of the times, they're actually heading towards banning capital punishment, banning the death penalty, which I've been a long time fan, first time caller. No, I've been opposed to the death penalty for a long time, fighting against it for a long time. There's fucking honestly no reason for it. It's completely barbaric. I've literally never heard anyone give a good argument for the death penalty. It's everything they try and propose. Even the people arguing in Virginia right now, they have like a head of police or something who's saying that it doesn't give them the closure they need when someone kills a cop. And it's like, if you need someone else executed to get closure, then you're a psychopath. All right. You're a fucking bizarre human being. Most families of someone who was killed don't say it gives them closure. They don't actually like it. Many of them come forward and say they don't want the guy executed. It's usually a guy. And
Yeah.
men
I
are
mean,
big.
Trump did kill a woman,
Oh yeah, that
the
was that
federal
was
executions did
right.
kill a woman. Girl power.
Yeah. We'll go. And she was like heavily mentally challenged as well, right?
Yes, indeed. As many of the people on death row are.
Yes, many of them are mentally challenged. Many of them are people of color because the number one determinant, like in very similar cases of whether you get the death penalty, is the race of the victim combined with whether you're a person of color. So basically, if a person of color kills a white person, that is when you're most likely to get the death penalty.
Yeah. There's a great chapter on the death penalty in Jesus Christ. Let's see if I can remember the title of a book. Oh, The New Jim Crow. The New Jim Crow.
Oh,
Michelle
yes.
Alexander's The New Jim Crow, and she talks about the Georgia executions and how they tried to prove that they were racially biased by saying, look, like the number of black men who committed the same crime as white men, there there's a number more of them that got executed. And basically the Supreme Court said, okay, you can't prove intent with that. But
on top of that, with the racist history in the like 1800s and 1700s, many of the executions were for white people. They were only executed if they had murdered somebody. But with black people, there were many cases where they were executed for literally stealing a chicken, stealing a grape in one case.
Yeah. There's an old saying in Texas, like we let the murderers go free and hang the horse thieves, because there are no horses that need stealing, but there are people who need hanging.
Who need killing, yeah.
Who need killing, yeah.
I mean, it's good to see that they're moving in that direction. It's amazing it's taken this long. The death penalty was made illegal in the U.S. For a while, and then they brought it back. And recently, it's been tough to execute many people because most states it's only lethal injection that they do anymore, and no one would sell us the lethal injection chemicals. So Trump had it.
Pharmaceutical companies are like, yeah, we don't want to be involved in that.
Yeah,
we're already having a PR issue. Like,
we're willing to kill 100,000 people a year with opioids, but we don't want to. We don't want to send you the drugs to execute people. And so Trump and his Justice Department, I think we covered this on Redacted tonight, had a scam going where they would trick pharmaceutical companies into somehow supplying the drugs to execute people. But
yeah,
that's when you know something's on the up and up, when you have to hide your killing drugs.
Yeah. You're like, hope nobody finds these. They're shaped like gummies. The kids might get to them.
Yeah, it was a poor choice to make them shaped like the gummy bears. Speaking of that, did you see that Gushers and Fruit by the Foot tweeted out a statement that they care about Black lives?
Oh, well, I think, everybody has to do it. Everybody, even like the Georgia chapter of the KKK was like, we need to make a statement.
Right. I always love when corporate entities are like, I think if we put out a statement on Black Lives Matter, I think that's going to make the difference. I think Gushers is really going to make the difference.
Yeah, I think, now that I know that Gushers supports Black Lives Matter, maybe I will start to pack them in my kids' lunch.
Oh, you have kids now? You've been busy this pandemic.
No, I don't have kids, but I do have so much time that, I mean, why not?
Why not collect a couple?
Point, yeah, adopt a few.
I've noticed everybody, if you walk outside, everybody has like brand new puppies, like fresh out the box puppies.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, once the pandemic's over, they're going to fucking hate those things. But for now.
Yeah, the shelters are going to be full of them. I do want a dog just so it like makes me get up in the morning or go outside and walk. But like maybe if I just started going to the bathroom outside.
I could do it.
I'd
I'm
have
not.
to go for a walk.
I'm
Much
not
more
sure I've
often.
heard that plan before. If I just had something that had to pee a lot around me, then
Yeah,
I'd be more active.
yeah. But
Um,
you have a cat though,
I do have a cat. Yes,
so you're not home alone.
No. The cat keeps me busy. I wanted to read some quotes from this Washington Post article on the death penalty. Virginia. It says Virginia, which carried out its first execution in 1608, and put colonists to death for such infractions as stealing grapes and killing chickens, has been the nation's most prolific death penalty state over the past 4 centuries. Even in the modern era, after the U.S. Supreme Court reinstated the death penalty in 1976, Virginia has executed 113 people, more than any other state save Texas, with Oklahoma close behind.
Congratulations, Virginia.
Yeah,
They're
Oklahoma,
prolific.
where the heads go rolling down the plain. Let's see.
Yeah, but I think now is like an opportune time to ban the death penalty because they're like, oh, coronavirus is taking care of that.
Yeah, we're killing plenty of people on our own with our own idiocy. It says that part of the change has to do with advances in DNA technology, which has exposed 28 of the 174 wrongful death row convictions since 1973. The estimates are that roughly 5% of those sentenced to die are completely innocent, and that's not even counting the people that might not be innocent of killing someone, but they were being shot at or something, or they, were accidentally hit someone with a car or whatever, and they're accused of manslaughter or whatever. But many of these are being overturned, especially now with DNA evidence. Although, if you watch the Innocence Project show on Netflix, whatever it's called, The Innocence Files, you can see that even when they get the DNA evidence proving someone was innocent of something, the courts often try their goddamnedest to keep those people in prison because they don't want to overturn their hard work.
Yeah, and plus they'd have to pay them a lot of money. They'd have to say that they're wrong. I understand not wanting to admit that you're wrong
and being willing to kill people to not admit that. A November 2019 Gallup poll found that for the first time in 34 years, a majority of Americans said life imprisonment with no possibility of parole was a better punishment for murder than the death penalty. So it seems that America is slowly starting to turn, despite the fact that we're one of only a handful of countries that still use the death penalty.
Yeah, it's been outlawed in a lot of industrialized places. They're like, actually, isn't it more expensive to keep people on death row and then
it is
them?
because of they have to cover the lawyer fees and everything for them usually, because generally it's not the rich people being executed. So because the city's covering these mandatory appeals and everything, they usually end up spending more to execute someone over whatever amount of time it takes to execute them, decades sometimes, than they would have spent housing an inmate for 50 years or something. So it's not even, you don't even save money. Not that would be a good argument for killing people, but you don't even save money. It's also been proven not to be a deterrent. Like when someone's about to kill someone, they don't generally go, oh, wait a second, I'm in a death penalty state.
Yeah.
And
they're usually like, I'm probably not going to get caught. That's what they all think, right?
I kind of figure that they're either thinking that, or in a lot of circumstances, they're thinking, like it's not a real thought out process a lot of the time. And then the final one, which this might be one of my favorite bits I've ever done. The final reason they give for the death penalty is they say, well, an eye for an eye. And I'm like, okay, but that's not actually a policy we ever use in our laws. In no situation do we do an eye for an eye. We don't even do an eye for an eye in the case of someone stealing an eye.
Yeah.
At no point is someone sentenced to have their eye taken from them because they took an eye. So only with the death penalty do people argue an eye for an eye.
Yeah. Makes the whole world go blind.
Exactly. You said it well.
Well, yeah, I just think if we're gonna base our laws all on Hammurabi's code, end up like a Bronze Age civilization collapsing. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, good news on the Virginia front. You excited about what Biden's done so far? What are we, 5 days in? Man, he's
What has he
killing
done?
it.
He's putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill, right?
Which I think should solve systemic racism, shouldn't it?
I think so too. Yeah. I think, people were like, hopefully we'll get more money for a stimulus. And they're like, how about pictures on the money?
Yeah.
Will that change your mind? I mean,
as people are waiting in lines for hours at food banks, they'll be like, well, it's all right because Harriet Tubman's on the 20.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too late. But so Biden, I think what's interesting is like the conservative commentators are just like finding anything, Fox News people are just like finding anything to attack Biden with, but they actually have a legitimate concern right now because Biden is preparing to nominate a lot of people with Silicon Valley ties for the antitrust division of the DOJ. So basically, all these people who worked for Google, Amazon, and Facebook are going to be in charge of breaking these companies up in the DOJ. And
so you're saying they aren't really going to do it?
Yeah. Well, I think what usually happens is in the past, well, first of all, a lot of them are from like Obama alumni. So everybody who's getting hired in the Biden administration is there might be an exception with the FTC chair. We might see somebody a little bit more antagonistic towards big tech companies. But in terms of the antitrust division, and especially now, it's like kind of a critical moment because this is the first time in decades we've seen like states go after Google and Facebook, mainly because of, election misinformation, or like Republicans are so excited to go after the big tech companies because now they're being silenced on these platforms and they're like, oh no, my posts, the algorithm. So like now they're cool with
Hey, I'm also yelling, oh no, my posts, the algorithm.
True. Me too. But yeah, where did all my Q followers go? And
the most incredible one, I'll be talking about this, I don't know, tomorrow or the day after, but the most incredible one was just the other day. I put up an episode of my podcast, my other podcast, Government Secrets, and it was about the JFK assassination. And underneath it on YouTube is the largest warning I've ever seen YouTube ever put on anything, that gives like the Encyclopedia Britannica explanation of the JFK assassination, that says Oswald shot Kennedy, and also Oswald was a Marxist and defected to the Soviet Union. It's like,
oh god,
this massive like, here are the CIA talking points.
That's nuts. That's crazy. Yeah, and it's just like everybody is very suspicious about the JFK murder. It's like mainstream.
They can't cover it up really much longer. I mean, there's just way too much going on with the JFK assassination for anyone to believe that it was the one weird dude in the book depository. But
yeah, so you believe the second gunshot theory?
There was at least a second gunshot. I'm not even sure anyone fired from the book depository, but it's what I talked about. I'm doing a 3-part series on the podcast Government Secrets. The first part was just only about how it's overly evident that JFK was shot from the front. Because the book depository was behind him. the back of his head blew off. And when a bullet comes from the front, it makes a small bullet hole in the front, but it can knock out a large chunk of bone in the back, which is how you see it in movies, right? When someone gets shot in the front of the head. And so the back of his head was blown off, and 21 out of 22 nurses and doctors at the hospital said they saw the back of his head missing. So it's like no matter what else you want to believe about what else happened, it's without a doubt that he was shot from the front. So,
okay.
Anyway.
Okay. I see. Yeah, I haven't looked that deeply into how gunshots explode your head. So I'm looking forward
you have
to
not watched television.
What?
Then you have not watched television.
Yeah, I've watched a fair amount.
No, but there's obviously a lot more than that. But that was the first segment I did. Anyway, now that we've talked about it, that means this video is going to be suppressed.
Yeah, why don't you do that? So a lot of big tech critics are criticizing Biden's choices, especially for the antitrust division. Like there's one woman, Renata Hess, who worked under Obama and oversaw all these mergers like NBC Comcast, US Airways, and I'm forgetting the names, but several very large consolidations. And now she's like the top prospective pick for the antitrust division. But
right.
now,
like his picks have all been pretty awful that I've seen. I mean, Neera Tanden, Samantha Power, Tony Blinken. These are all pretty horrific choices. It's not like I haven't seen him put anyone in where you're like, oh, all right, someone who actually stands for something good.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. What is interesting though is like now Google and other companies have said they're not going to donate to campaigns of people who went against the election results. And Ted Cruz is one of those people. And he worked alongside Renata Hess defending Google in Texas against the Texas Attorney General.
Huh.
So these are real like slimy people. They're,
So you're seeing a bit of a feud among the power elite.
Yeah, a little bit of, well, when it comes to like the few Republicans like Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz who are going to be punished or going to be spanked for.
Right. But I bet the antitrust thing, which was they started to bring it under Trump, was because Trump probably had something to do with Trump being furious at these platforms for hurting him or sidelining him on his post. And now
motives. I mean, it's still a good thing to break.
No. It is. I'm saying it is a good thing, but I think that they will now slowly. These will disappear because Google and Amazon are on the side of, I mainly the liberals, but also the moderate Republicans who are not really Trumpers, and so I don't think that the like liberal elite that is now a little more in power is going to go after these institutions that helped them, sideline Trump. But
yeah, as long as they like those companies consent to having the Democratic Party like control their information, they're going to be fine. They're not going to be going after them. But there still are the state lawsuits against these companies, which might move forward. So that's something to look forward to. But in terms of the federal antitrust division, it looks pretty grim.
And Carrie commented, thanks, Carrie. She commented, Biden is not our friend as well as Trump. He could give health care with an executive order. And this is something I've been talking about, the executive order that could give people Medicare for all, the entire country. Section 1881A of the Social Security Act, which has been done in Libby, Montana, giving everybody in Libby, Montana Medicare for all.
It's an environmental threat or something.
Yeah, it says if they've been subject to quote unquote environmental exposure. Now, I think there's an easy argument to make that within a pandemic, basically the whole country is subject to environmental exposure. So you could give everyone healthcare. But even if you didn't do that, so many of our cities have some form of environmental exposure or another, whether it be mining or fracking or lead in the water, or the pollution in
Flint
Los
should
Angeles.
have it right now, but
What's that?
Flint.
Yeah. Well, Flint is one of 2,000 cities that have elevated lead levels. So it's like you could give so many people in this country Medicare for all without going to Congress. So.
Yeah, but we're not going to see that happen.
No, we're not.
We're not going to see it happen. But yeah, everybody's, I mean, since Trump left, it's like very, it's like soothing. It's like the country collectively drank a cup of chamomile tea. We're like, this is so much better, but it's really just reverting back to the Obama era. And
right, they're trying to, but I don't think they're ever going to get the quote unquote normalcy that they had under Obama. I mean, the economy is never going to recover, and the environment isn't going to suddenly come back. Mm-hmm. So you brought a story, correct?
That was my story.
Oh, that was a story. Okay.
The revolving door. If you want, I can talk more about that and about Renata Hess.
The revolving door. Didn't Trump so there's something where they sign that the people in the Trump administration can't lobby, and he signed it when he first got to office. And apparently Obama had done something similar. And then as on their way out, they get rid of that executive order to allow their administration to become lobbyists.
Yeah, well, there's a time limit. There's a 2-year time limit, and I'm just not I'm not clear on which administration did what, but I guess the time limit was removed. So
right, because they want to make sure their people can make a lot of money. You don't want to get in the way of that.
Yeah. So Renata Hess worked under the Obama DOJ and then went to go work for Amazon. So she's selling insider information to these companies.
A lot of them went to some big tech company, David Plouffe went to Uber initially, and then he also was
we're not going to write a book. We're gonna.
Yeah. He was also on the board of the company that owned the Shadow app that destroyed the Iowa caucus for Buttigieg and Biden. But
yeah, and now that's interesting because now the Democratic Party has come to terms with that, and they're like, oh yeah, it was our fault. Iowa was all fucked up. But yeah, it's getting swept under the rug because it's
they quietly put it
anymore.
quietly dropped a report 8 months later, here you go.
Yeah.
So I got one more story I'll get your take on. This is about so there are multiple vaccines for COVID-19, and one of them that has not been released, or it's about to be released, was done in coordination or cooperation with Oxford and AstraZeneca. And unlike the others, they had announced it was going to be open source and basically free, or whatever level of free they could manage to do. Unlike the others. So it was going to be like the polio vaccine. Listen, this is to save the world. So here you go. Mm-hmm. And now, let's see here. As Alan McLeod has reported at Mint Press, Bill Gates has stepped in to advise Oxford to ditch the open source COVID vaccine.
Yeah, nobody's going to take it seriously if it's free.
It's true. No one will trust it if it's for free. Unable to secure a profit in immunizing poorer nations, Western multinationals, including Oxford's private partner AstraZeneca, have prioritized those who can pay the most. So not only have they quit with the whole open source thing, but they also have told poorer nations that whole we're gonna give it to you. We've rethought that, and it turns out that's not as beneficial to us.
Yeah. I mean, it's just funny because like now, like if you do fuck the poor, it will come back and bite you because until everybody's immunized, like there's going to be still a danger of getting it. So,
well, but I mean, to me, this just kind of speaks to how our capitalist system works. It's this thing was going to go against capitalism. It was going to say, look, too many people are suffering. This helps the whole world. So we're just going to give it away. And it'll be open source. So anyone can create it on their own. And, Bill Gates, one of the wealthiest men in the world, who has an amount of money that could end world hunger for, 20 or 30 years or something like that. He had stepped in and he felt the need to say, listen, about that whole giving it away for free. Because here's the thing is like, if they were to do that, Bill Gates, who is in charge, has put himself in charge of a lot of other vaccines that make him a lot of money.
It makes him look bad. He's like,
yeah, but he realizes, it would make his vaccines that he's selling to other countries look bad. And anyway, this is how the capitalist system works. It's like, hold on, you're giving something away without profit, without screwing others in order to enrich yourselves. That doesn't work in our paradigm.
Yeah, Bill Gates is it's great we have him to take care of the vaccine rollout.
Yeah. Well, he stole the operating system that made him rich, and that's who you want at the helm.
Yeah. Can you see the comments on YouTube? I can't see them.
You can't see them when you're on StreamYard?
Yeah.
You can't click there's not a tab that says comments?
Oh, yeah, now I see them. Oh, hello.
Hey, everybody. Naomi can now see your comments. So if you want to, I saw many comments saying she's beautiful. If you want to repeat those now, feel free.
Let's read them all. Cool. Well, thank you guys. That's wonderful.
Hot with 2 T's. That's the best kind.
Yeah, extra hot. Crispy, really.
So what else have you been up to during the pandemic?
I've been working on drawing.
Oh, yeah.
Those who follow me on Instagram will know that I've been posting some of my drawings.
What's the Instagram name?
Naomi Karavani.
Oh.
There goes my light. I'll show you some of the things I've been working on.
Yeah.
I've been drawing a number of portraits of Benedict Cumberbatch, and this was the final one.
Wow, that's excellent.
Thank you.
So are you like
I'm
obsessed?
not going to show you the ones that came before that, though.
Are you obsessed with him or?
No.
How'd you pick him? You just like Sherlock?
No, actually, I don't watch a lot of stuff with him in it. I was just like, I was just drawing other people, and they all kind of look the same. And I realized that I needed somebody with like distinctive features to draw. So
he is distinctive. He looks like a praying mantis.
Yeah, very distinctive.
Are you saying you didn't watch the Sherlock shit series?
I'm sorry.
It's fucking great. It's like the best TV.
Yeah. Is that what you're watching right now?
No, I watched it like years ago, but I like that it's fast paced. It's not, they don't stick around a lot,
Okay. Well, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. What are we watching now?
That's a good question. I've run out of things. Oh, I was watching some, I don't watch hardly any sports, but I can watch sports documentaries because those seem more interesting to me than sport. I grew up watching sports, but I don't anymore really. Occasionally.
So you watched the Tiger thing?
Oh, I did watch it. That's right. The Tiger documentary on HBO.
Yeah.
Either athletes are just really good at destroying their lives, or they only make documentaries about athletes who destroyed their lives.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a better story that way.
So recently, I've seen Mark McGuire, Lance Armstrong. Yeah. They're all a catastrophe. Although, here's an interesting topic: how upset should we be about like Mark McGuire using whatever steroids he used, considering at the time they apparently weren't illegal in baseball, and like we use chemicals to add to performance all the time, whether they be certain over-the-counter drugs or whether they be, like even people that play in orchestras, like violinists and stuff, will take beta blockers so that they're not nervous. Like the level of the performance-enhancing drugs is taken throughout society.
Stuff?
Huh?
What's this beta blocker stuff?
I've never taken them, but
oh, okay.
I think it's for anxiety and stuff, but anyway, I'm just saying, yes, they took these chemicals that made them hit balls really far, but everyone paid to see balls hit really far, and they did it the best. So,
yeah, I don't understand the big deal. I don't really care about doping. It's not an issue that touches my heart. I think everybody should be using drugs. As we saw, drugs won the drug war. So
that's true. Drugs won the drug war. What are they? So America's legalizing. Some places are doing mushrooms. DC.
DC did mushrooms. Yep. Prop 81.
So but that doesn't mean they're legal yet, right? It has to now be, the law has to now be changed by our legislature.
Yeah, I guess they're in the legal gray area that marijuana was. So it's like they have to, when you go buy them, you have to buy a piece of artwork or a sticker or a motivational quote. And then they're yours.
I think we've learned from this hangout that you don't want to talk about sports, but you do want to talk about drugs. So yes. You pretend to buy a piece of art.
Nothing to add about sports. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I don't, like I said, I don't watch sports nowadays. But so yeah, like with weed, usually it used to be. Is it still that like people order it on their phone, but they've got to like buy cookies with it or something?
Yeah.
And like they'll not weed cookies, like plain old cookies to make it look like they're ordering food. So it's like, yes, I would like this oddly expensive batch of cookies.
Oh, well, my favorite company, they give you a motivational quote or like a Zen kind of quote.
You pay for the quote.
Yeah, I paid $60 for some Taoist shit. Yeah.
That's
never
amazing.
Again.
It's amazing. And so legally they have to say that. They have to say you're paying for the quote.
Yes. They will come to your house and give you some Taoist philosophy.
All right. So shall we wrap it up? You got anything else I'm missing?
I don't know if anybody's been following the stock market thing with GameStop. Did you see any of that on Twitter?
No, I did see a mention of it, but I didn't follow what it was.
Oh, okay. So Wall Street Bets, the subreddit, has been like organizing private investors to tank hedge funds this hedge fund Mervin or something was betting against GameStop, and so Wall Street Bets and I guess other meme people like just bought up GameStop and artificially
inflated
raised the value. I mean, they're really exposing how absurd the stock market is altogether.
So what are they called? Wall Street Bets?
Wall Street Bets. Yeah. And there's like millions of people who belong. It's a toxic place. People are like losing their life savings and just like, making memes out of it.
Well, that's what I love. Like people like the Wall Street and like Bloomberg and like Wall Street Journal, they love to say, oh, Bitcoin's garbage because it isn't based on anything or whatever. You're like, look at what Wall Street is. It's fucking nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. And but the funny thing is that GameStop was tanking, but these these people on the internet just like artificially made it valued at like billions of dollars, and they caused this hedge fund to lose $1 billion. And it's kind of cool because they're like saying, oh, this is like vengeance against Wall Street,
Right.
and it seems kind of cool. But I think in the end, what happened was the hedge fund that was supposed to collapse because of this just like, got more money from other investors. So I don't
So
see them
you
like
don't think it hurt them that
closing
much?
doors of hedge funds, but I mean that would be really cool if they could.
If it actually worked, if you could just go down the list harming hedge funds, I think that'd be pretty worth it.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. If you guys have any interest in that, you can see they're going to be looking at another low valued stock that people are betting against and artificially raising the value.
Well, like I've said before, Wall Street is a Ponzi scheme, and I don't mean that in like a hyperbolic way. Like if you look at the literal SEC definition of a Ponzi scheme, it matches Wall Street to a T. And so it is. Yeah. A stock only does well as long as people are willing to buy it, and the moment that stops, the house of cards falls. And so it. I mean, we act like Ponzi schemes need to be stopped, and they're dangerous, and they're fraudsters, and they're fraudulent, and yet that should go for all of our current stock market.
Yeah, exactly. And to respond to some of the comments, yes, GameStop is also going to tank no matter what. It's
right.
Even if they artificially raise the value, it's still
because during a pandemic, who's going to go wander around a tiny little store?
Yeah, I mean that's all I do. And I would love to bring my Boys Go to Baghdad podcast back, but I don't have anybody to do it with. So maybe I'll do it on my own one day.
Yeah, well, clearly the people are aching for it. So where can people follow your stuff?
Oh, well, I'm at Naomi Karavani on all platforms, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And I'm sorry to the Facebook people. I haven't been on there very much. But I'll also start my Twitch stream soon. So if you go to twitch.tv/Naomi Karavani, you can subscribe there. And I'll be doing some live streams pretty soon.
Cool. Thanks, Naomi, for joining me.
Thank you, Lee.
I'll make for those of you listening, I'll make a sad announcement that due to extenuating circumstances, there was no new Redacted this last week. There will be no new Redacted this coming week, but we'll be back in 2 weeks. So
yeah, 2 weeks, I think.
I hope.
I don't know.
I hope.
We'll see.
All right. See you soon.
Take care, Lee.
Bye, everybody.